Programs Committee at Women+Power. I just wanted to pop on for a few minutes this morning to introduce myself to those of you who I haven't met before, since you've started to see my name pop up, and I'll certainly be part of the program going forward. Before I hand it over to Carissa and Petra. So I just wanted to say welcome to the program. This is very exciting. Women+Power is really an organization born to provide a place for women in the power industry and those working with the power industry to connect, to support one another, to lean on each other. So this is certainly one of our favorite flagship programs for Women+Power. This is the second time we're running it, which is fantastic. The first program had about 45 people in it. This one has 35, so we have 6 peer groups that will be running from now until the end of March. Great to see. That spans 23 different companies, and we have all sorts of people in the program, from customer service to engineering, finance, IT, HR, business development, the training space. It's really a wide range of people and functions, which is exactly what we want. Carissa, Petra, and I have done our best to create diversity among the teams in terms of companies, levels, functions, so that you can get some really great cross-functional, cross-cultural understanding and mix and support. So we hope you really enjoy the program. It's really meant to learn together, to laugh together, to grow together, to support one another. And we saw all of this happen through the first program. So definitely excited for you to go on this journey. You will learn all you need to learn today from Petra and Carissa, who were both in the program last time, on how to do it. And then we will have a virtual peer mixer halfway through and a wrap up at the end. And our end wrap up last time, we had Melanie Bailey come in, who is the president of the electricity division at ATCO, to share her career journey and what mentorship has meant to her, and really how she sees the difference between learning and development. So lots of really great information, and we will certainly attempt to have a great wrap up like that again. But without further ado, I'll hand it over to Petra and Carissa. They're both part of the Women+Power organization, and they will teach you all you need to know to have a successful program. And you'll be hearing from all of us as we go forward. So welcome, and thank you, Petra and Carissa, for taking us through this today.
Thank you, Lena. Thanks everyone again for joining us. So we'll just get started here today with the land acknowledgement. And then we'll do some housekeeping and get right into it. Okay, so in a spirit of mutual respect, reciprocity, and truth, we acknowledge the Treaty 7 lands from where we are talking to you today. We're standing on the traditional territory of Stoney Nakoda Nation and Blackfoot Tribe and the Tsuut'ina Nation, as well as the home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. We would also like to acknowledge all the Indigenous people who, from time immemorial, have been the keepers of these lands. This place provides us with an opportunity to engage in and to demonstrate leadership on reconciliation. So for some housekeeping notes, please note that this session is being recorded. We're recording it for the benefit of the participants who couldn't make it to the session, and it will be sent out and available to everyone afterwards. Women+Power respects the privacy of you, our members, and information about our privacy policy can be found on our website if you'd like to know more. We also ask you to please turn off your mic, so make sure your mics are muted, just to reduce interference as we go through the presentation. But please feel free to send us messages in the chat or interact in the chat box, and I'll be monitoring the chat throughout the call, and I will alert Carissa when we have questions in there. Okay, all right, so without further ado, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Petra Seitz. I am a volunteer with the Women+Power organization for over a year now, best decision ever. And I am, like Elena said, a previous participant to the peer mentoring program. And I'm back again this year after the great positive experience I had last go around, meeting so many women from so many companies and just sharing our experiences and learning from each other. And with me here is Carissa. I'll let her take it from here.
Hi, I'm Carissa Browning. I'm a board member of Women+Power, and I'm also a lawyer at Enernex. as Petra has said, we were on the same peer mentorship circle last time. So that's how we met. And I hope that you guys enjoy the new session. So just to kind of go over what we're going to be talking about today in regards to the peer mentorship circles, we're going to have an overview of the Women+Power organization, thank our sponsors, talk about the program purpose and timelines, the program structure, some tips for the facilitators, and some topic and session ideas. So as mentioned earlier, feel free to ask any questions throughout the presentation. About Women+Power. So Women+Power is a community developed for women of all levels and experience who work in or with the Alberta power industry, and was established to provide opportunities for members to connect with, support, inspire, and recognize each other, to empower women to achieve their full potential both professionally and personally. We plan on creating a more diverse, inclusive power industry by developing a supportive, influential, and accessible community, creating an environment where women feel empowered and have access to information, resources, and services they need to succeed in their careers, recognizing and celebrating the successes of women at all levels in the industry, collaborating with sponsors and partners to advocate for support and establish goals and initiatives relating to diversity and inclusion in the workplace. If you have not already done so, please join us as a member, and it's on our website for further information. We would like to thank our supporters, our amazing supporters and partners that make this program possible and all other programs. And we're also our session today would not be possible without the kindness of our facilitators and our Women+Power sponsors, financial, non-financial, for the support they provided for us. In regards to the peer mentoring circles, the timeline for the circles will be running from October to March. We will also have a virtual peer circle mixer on December 15th. And on March, we will celebrate with a wrap-up event hosted by the Women+Power group. The purpose of the peer mentoring circles, they meet regularly to discuss specific topics of interest to the group. We recommend meeting once a month for an hour, but the frequency and length is decided upon the group. And as noted earlier, we have already created the circles, and you would meet throughout the 6 months. It's a pretty basic program structure. So prior to the meeting, you choose a facilitator for the meeting, and the facilitator works with the peer group to pick the topics and schedules for a meeting with pre-work about 2 to 3 weeks in advance. At the meeting, the facilitator would introduce the topic, talk about what resonates with them, and open the discussion. And then after the meeting, the next facilitator would be picked, and we'll schedule the meeting and the work with the peer group to determine the next topic to talk about. Rinse and repeat. Facilitator tips. You're the air traffic controller, not the pilot. Consider establishing peer circle norms. Focus on open-ended questions. Start with quick icebreakers to deepen the relationship. Lean in or lean out to hear from everyone, and make peace with silence. Topic suggestions. A lot of these were talked about during the first peer mentoring circles. So leading through times of change, escaping the double bind, the SCARF method model, emotional tax, decision-making and sense-making models, mastering public speaking, courageous leadership, fixed versus growth mindset, storytelling and the power of language, negotiation strategies, Myers-Briggs personality tests, trust building and maintenance, identifying core values, power of networking, career growth, progression, navigating a male-dominated industry, interrupting bias, and knowing your strengths. In regards to the format of the session, some suggestions are to have an open discussion, maybe consider having a guest speaker for a topic, taking personality test for the group, some of the icebreakers, share videos, or book discussions. And of course, the circles have a lot of support through the Women+Power organization. Your support includes each other, your networks, and feel free to reach out at Events and Program Committee by emailing hello@womenandpower.com if you need help with a program. We're always here to help you. And then I guess next is there any questions that anybody has in regards to the program? Petra, is there any questions? I don't see any.
No, I don't see any in the chat yet. But being that we have so much time, if you have questions, you could turn on your camera and introduce yourself and unmute yourself and ask a question if you're comfortable. Or you could just put it in the chat if you prefer.
While people are thinking about their questions, I just wanted to touch on the facilitation of the circles for another minute or so here. So we do find that facilitating is a real big part of the program and a powerful piece. So we do, as Chris mentioned, suggest that you rotate facilitation of the circle itself. And when she was talking about the pilot and the controller, what that really means is you as the facilitator, maybe you haven't done a lot of facilitating in this kind of space before, and maybe certainly not with a bunch of people you don't know. Don't think of it as you coming to the table to have to teach people something. You're just facilitating the conversation. So that's really where the pre-work comes in. You work with your team, you decide what topic you want to talk about that month, and then you'll go away as the facilitator and find some interesting resources that pertain to that topic, whether that be a YouTube video or a TED Talk or an article, whatever it might be. And then when you come together as a group, it's more just helping facilitate that conversation and dialogue in the room to draw out that discussion. So I know there's always a few people who might be nervous to do that, but just wanted to touch on that point in case you weren't kind of thinking in that way, or just wanted to clarify more what that facilitation looked like. And I can say in the first group, most of the teams actually met every 3 weeks just to make sure that there was enough time for everybody to facilitate. So I encourage you to take a look at that too and kind of look out and possibly even schedule a reoccurring meeting on a certain day so that it's in your calendars, and consider having enough of them so everyone has a chance to do that facilitation, because I know we got some good feedback that was helpful even for people who might have been a little bit more hesitant to step into that space. So just wanted to provide a bit more color there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It does work well if everybody gets a chance to facilitate a topic that is important to them and open up the discussion.
Was there any more tips and tricks that you can think of, Petra and Krista, from being through the program the first time, or anything else you'd want to share with this new group embarking on this journey?
One thing I'll say is, at least for my group, the first meeting might have been a little bit awkward with introducing yourselves and feeling it out and deciding how you're going to run your group and what the recurring meeting would be like and who's doing what topic and what the topics even will be. Don't let that be a deterrent for you to say, yeah, I'm not going to click with this group. My group ended up being pretty close-knit and still shared resources on our LinkedIn group, I guess, till date. So yeah, that kickoff might be slow going, but when it does get going, I think all the groups ended up, really clicking with each other and finding relationships there. So don't be discouraged by your initial meet and greet. It's the one thing I'd say.
Yeah, and to
When we
that
were-
point, it's a great point, and the icebreaker is even a really important piece of that, right? And we did have actually a number of suggestions in terms of icebreakers you could potentially use. So maybe we could send that out to this group after for some ideas on what people can do.
Yeah, so here's some icebreaker ideas, if you guys want to check them out, and we could forward them after the fact. So best thing and worst thing that happened in the past week or so. If you really knew me, you would know that. What you're most proud of, what do you most regret? Tell us about a time where you overcame adversity, when you felt the most powerful, least powerful, what brings out the best in you, who do you most admire and why? A year from now, what will you wish you had done today? If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be? If there was one more hour a day, what would you spend it on? If you had to describe your life in 3 sentences, what would you say? If you could ask for anything, what would you ask for and from whom? How would your closest friends describe you? What are the 3 things you most value? How does your daily routine align with these values? Who's had an impact on your life and who haven't you thanked? Why? So those are just icebreaker ideas for the group. And as Petra alluded to, sometimes it takes a while to open up as a group, but keep the lines of communication open and feel free, like not just on the day that you're meeting during that month, but throughout the month to, pass on information to the group or interesting articles that you've read or LinkedIn posts that actually was quite helpful for our group to kind of get the group going. Does anybody have any questions? Well, that was easy.
Yeah, there's one question. Will this presentation be shared with everyone?
Elena, are we going to be
Yeah,
presenting?
for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Go ahead and send out the presentation after to these folks, and the recording will get a link as well that can be shared too with the group. Yep. I guess you could just wrap up, Krissa.
Okay. Well, thank you for everybody that joined, and I hope you enjoy your time with the peer mentorship circles. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions or if you want to volunteer with us or you have any sponsorship opportunities. And so here's our email address, hello@womenpower.ca, and our website. We'll forward the materials and the recording. And yeah, feel free to reach out if anybody has any questions.
Thank you.